So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So,
Oh, you're good. One thing I wanted to ask you is, are you from Mississippi originally?
I grew up in Tennessee.
Okay, but so have,
Mhm.
have you ever had? I'll stick to Mississippi. Was my next question.
Mhm.
So that's not far. But have you ever had any dealings with Calvin Parker from Pascagoula?
I have not. I'm very familiar with him, and I would have loved to have met him, but I never got the opportunity. I live in Northeast Mississippi, so he was
Yeah,
down,
he was at
close
the
to the
tip in the
coast.
ocean.
Yeah, so I didn't get that privilege. So,
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, so I know where all you're at.
oh goodness, I grew
Yeah.
up close to you, 45 minutes away from Huntsville in Tennessee. So I have spent a lot of time in Huntsville, a lot. I
Oh
like it.
yeah, it's where it's at.
Oh yeah.
Especially nowadays, it's turning into Austin, Texas over here. Everybody's moving here from God knows where.
You've got a lot of technology in that area, and my kids, I always sent them to the space camp at the Space and Rocket Center, and we always stop in there and take grandkids and let them see all that. So yeah, that's like a big deal when we start getting across that bridge in Decatur and coming up and seeing those rockets standing up in the air. That's a big deal.
My daughter's a 2-year space camp alumni.
Yeah.
She doesn't even call us anymore when she goes.
It's too much fun.
She does. It's like she goes to the aviation challenge too, so it's like a miniature.
Oh, that's amazing. Thing. Yes.
It's like space camp, because my wife is a teacher. She got to do space camp for free.
Awesome.
Last year. And then my daughter did space camp. My mom pays for it, but she did the aviation part. And she's like, doesn't want anything to do with me afterwards.
Yeah. Well, it is amazing. Children are there from all over the world. It is a beautiful place to meet all these different kids. And, it's amazing. I think, anybody that could work it out should send their kids there because they learn so much. They really do.
Yeah. And like, I didn't realize that because I'm from this area. I'm from 40 minutes from Huntsville. So I thought everybody in the world's from Huntsville area. And you talk to these people and they're like, yeah, we got to fly out after this. Where are you flying to? Goes, oh, yeah. We're from people from Hawaii and Saskatchewan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
One lady was making fun of the mud around here. I'm like, what are you making fun of the mud? Nobody told you to come here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. She doesn't know what it's like to go mud riding, right?
Yeah. It's 150 degrees. You got to go.
Yeah.
What? We'll cut right to it. So can you share the moment you first realized that your extraterrestrial encounters were not just random events, but a significant part of your life's purpose? I mean,
well, it's happened all my life. And I can remember as far back as like 2 and 3 years old. And so when I hit 30 years old, I actually witnessed my 2 children having their first experience. Really? I'll use the word taken, but I don't like to use a negative form of the word, but it is what it is. But so I witnessed that, and when that happened, I had come to the realization that what it was happening to me, and that it was not going to stop. It was an ongoing, reoccurring event. And I already knew growing up in Tennessee, close to where you live, that it's a Bible Belt. These things are considered demonic, or either people are considered crazy. So I realized, you just don't go out talking about these kind of things in the area that I grew up in. So I suppressed it. I had to survive. I had to just keep my own mental health. So I suppressed it. But when I witnessed my children being taken, that was the game changer, because, it's like, you can talk about me, but don't you ever talk about my children. Kind of like that same feeling. So I took it personal and took it hard. And so I have the ability that I can tell when they're coming. So I felt that they were coming. So I sat up in the bed and looked around, and then I saw some beings surface, materialize in the room, and they were like 3 short grays, and these were not the 3 grays that always come for me. So they saw me sitting up, and one approached me and kind of pressed me down and said, "This is not about you. And so when I laid down, he started walking over towards the other bed, which I was staying at a hotel in Key West at a Marriott. We were on a holiday.
They come get you
Yeah.
vacation, dude.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
That seems like, I was gonna say they come to get you on vacation. That seems kind of disrespectful. I mean,
Yeah, it's going to happen wherever for whatever
come
reason.
on.
It
No
doesn't matter.
there's no ethics involved.
All over the world, and it doesn't matter where you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're coming. They're coming. So anyway, long story short, though, when at the time, you know, my children didn't have any memory of it, and they were fine and perfectly healthy, and they were okay. So, but when I did get home from the trip, I meditated and asked to have kind of like my own little intervention with them to, you know, I wanted to know why this is happening to me. Why is it happening to my children? What is the purpose? What is the meaning? So basically, and I'm not a person that claims that they can call these beings down or anything like that. I'm a human being. So they did come on their own time. And when they did, they took me before a group of elders, and I went before these elders, and they were interdimensional beings, and they were all about 7 or 8 foot tall, and they were just before me. And I asked them, why is this happening to me and my family? And they explained to me that before I was born as a human being, that I had made an agreement to be part of this evolutionary leap that humanity would be going through. And that throughout my life, they would be coming to visit me, getting me ready in preparation of this event. And so, you know, to be honest with you, I heard everything they said, but it did not register with me because I'm not the same person that I was when I was 30 years old. You know, a lot of things have happened and a lot of things have changed. My perceptions of things have changed. And about 2 years ago, they gave me a Kundalini awakening. And when they did that, that changed everything. All of my subconscious opened up into my everyday human consciousness, and everything made sense from the minute I was born until now. And I realize now and they affirmed this to me, that I was an interdimensional being before I came to Earth, and I chose to be here because what's happening is that we are going through a big evolutionary leap and reaching higher levels of consciousness. And they sent a lot of incarnates here to be here and to help humanity because we have been misinformed, we've been lied to, and we've been suppressed in a lot of ways. Like things have been done to keep us dumbed down and keep us from reaching ascension, which means reaching higher levels of consciousness and reaching into a higher dimension, because people need to realize dimensions are not physical places. They are just higher levels of consciousness, which means more awareness of the world around us. We will evolve past just using our 5 senses that we understand the world with. These will expand. Certain things in our DNA will start to activate that have been purposely suppressed by putting toxins and chemicals in our air, toxins and chemicals in our water, in our food, probably vaccinations. You know, even our true history has been doctored and suppressed, and we don't understand what our true origins are, or the history of our planet. So there's so many things, and we live in a negative realm where these really rich elite people have control over our world and all of our governments and leaders, and they help put them in office, but then they manipulate them and run the world the way that suits them to benefit their pocketbooks and to benefit their world and keep them in control. And they've never wanted us to reach an ascension and become healthier beings and more intelligent, because they can't make money off us that way. And it's also a way that they have controlled our population, is by having us be unhealthy and die at younger ages. We should be living much longer. We should have no poverty. We should have no diseases. we should have all these wonderful things, but they have been sitting on technology for eons with the pure sheer intention of keeping us in this negative realm and keeping control and manipulating us. So that's why the interdimensionals and extraterrestrials are here now in great numbers. It's because they recognize that human beings are waking up and understanding that these things have been happening and that they're no longer going to serve us, because wars get us nowhere. Living in this realm of negativity and keeping us divided, which creates racism, creates disputes among our humanity. And these things don't serve us. They don't help us get anywhere in life. And now our technology is at a peak to where if we don't learn how to manage our world better, ourselves, our planet is suffering from it. Humanity is suffering from it. We have to understand, we have to have new ways of thinking and new ways of living, and be patient and let our evolution run its course, and then make some good decisions about how things are done and how we utilize AI. And it can be done to benefit humanity, but not in the reality and world we live in right now. It will be just like any other technology. They will use it to only benefit a certain group of people, and that's not going to help us. So a lot of things need to change. And I think that's why, I don't know if you've ever heard me or know anything about me, but I truly think humanity is the disclosure. We are the disclosure, because we are going to wake up and understand these things, and we're going to work together and realize all of our connections and get together and come together, unify, and take charge more of our lives. And
that'd be their worst nightmare if we did that.
I think that
their worst nightmare.
Exactly, because we will be unstoppable. And if you think about it, humanity for a whole world is what I'm talking about, is a very big number. And there's a lot of rich people that aren't negative and want to see the world come together. Our world is going to change when we all get on the same frequency and get to higher level, and realize that we have to first change into being better human beings. And that's the goal. It's for us to realize and understand our connections, and that what we do, everything we do, not only affects us worldwide, but it affects our planet, our environment, the nature of the world, all planets and living conscious beings on it, and it ripples out into the universe. And that's why they are down here too, is because we're playing with weapons that could destroy not only ourselves, but every living thing on it, including our planet, and it could ripple out into the universe. And that's a no-no.
Now, how does the AI affect play into the evolutionary course? Like, what are we supposed to do with the AI?
Okay. The way that they showed me in visions is that AI is a man-made tool. We have to keep it as a man-made tool. We created it. We stay in charge. We cannot let just certain elite individuals make the decisions for us. So we have to stay in charge, and we will use it with our intelligence. And it will not take away all jobs, like people say. It will create new types of jobs, and it will help us to learn to use it to benefit humanity, to where we don't have to be enslaved to our jobs. We can enjoy our families more, and we will not call jobs, and we will not work 3 or 4 jobs. We will finally get to enjoy every aspect of our aging process and spend more time with our families, and let AI generate and operate and make money for us and help us utilize and find jobs that we call, change the name and call it service to self, service to my community. And it will be less hours, and it will be things that we actually love to do. And it will not be focused on the amount of money it makes, because if we can generate AI into helping us to make things for us, we're going to learn that this materialistic ideas and stuff really aren't the way that we were in our future that
Mhm.
we will need to be. And these things are not going to happen overnight. It's just like anything else. Everybody's on their own spiritual growth path. So it has to happen in a slow process. It's not going to be like night and day. And it's just like this ascension. We're going through an ascension right now, and our planet is too. And that's not going to happen overnight. These things cannot be done overnight because it would overwhelm human beings. It would overwhelm our brains. It has to be done in
Definitely.
a slow process, just like our creation. Our world wasn't created in one day. Things of this nature, things this big, have to be done in a slow design. It has to be done this way. And for everybody that does not know, interdimensionals and extraterrestrials believe in a creator source. They all have souls, and we have souls, and we are all connected. And in their reality, religions are man-made constructs, and they don't have religions or anything like that, but they do believe in a creator source that is over all universes and all galaxies, because we are not alone. We've never been alone. And there's other beings, and there's other galaxies and other universe, and there's many, many extraterrestrials and interdimensionals. And they
Mhm.
are all in our skies and all in our solar system, but we simply cannot see it because we live in a 3D world, and it is beyond our range of visual perception.
You think there'll ever be any like military advancements that we can see them? Just like the frequencies, like
There's,
we do the IR and we do the spectral
yeah,
analysis.
they can see them if they use military issued with infrared lighting. They can see it, and I've been told that. I just hadn't bought one to see. I can see them. I can see them, but see, I'm looking for them, and I am in frequency with them because I'm 64 years old. I've been doing this all my life, and I have physical
Mhm.
face to face, hold hands, feel the temperature of their skin. They touch me. We embrace. So I am in tune. I see them. They're not hiding, but I understand a lot of people simply could see them, but never see them. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't register
Mhm.
with them, or they wouldn't want to see it, so they block it. So our world is changing, and it's changing very fast from what I see. It's changing. The world's changing all around us, and we are all changing. And if you look on any social media, you're going to see just higher consciousness, level frequencies, all these different things,
Mhm.
because we are all waking up and we're understanding that the world is, our perceptions are changing because we're realizing our physics doesn't apply. Our ways of living and whatever, and our technology doesn't apply, because from my experiences, I've learned that everything on our planet is a living conscious being. Trees
Mhm.
are alive and they communicate. Plants are alive. They communicate. Everything is alive, communicating. We can't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. It is true. And they've showed me that. So, but as we are waking up and becoming more aware, we're going to start to see more of these things. And even like not just extraterrestrial, but even paranormal world. We're going to
Mhm.
finally, those things are not going to, we're going to be more aware of everything around us.
It
So,
definitely feels like the veil is lifted.
oh,
More,
yeah,
more people are seeing stuff. It's okay to say you saw stuff lately.
yeah, yeah,
Um, People say, just outright, I say I saw Bigfoot. I didn't see it. I'm saying people say it, and it's just like, well, that many people describe the same thing. Like, what is it?
yeah,
And what you're saying about that, the different dimensions that you can't see,
yes,
probably explains a lot more than we cared. I'm going to get a ton of laugh emojis for even bringing this up, but I mean, why would it be on a podcast at 9 o'clock on a Sunday if we cared about laugh emojis?
yeah,
But there's a lot. What you're saying describes, like, explains a lot of it, and just the clipping in and out, like you were saying, if that could be like proven, a lot of stuff would come to light.
yeah. Well, there's a couple of things I can tell you that will just floor you. like I'll just give you some examples.
Go ahead.
You and I are talking on laptops. Our technology is a separate entity. You know, okay, in extraterrestrial interdimensional reality, their consciousness, keeping in mind first, they're a billion years ahead of us in evolution.
Oh yeah.
Their technology is not a separate entity. It is their higher consciousness. They can simply, their craft are living conscious beings. So when their pilot, who is DNA is specifically designed to be a pilot, their consciousness meet up. Nobody else can fly one of their craft. That's why we can't fly their craft, is because they're living conscious beings, and their pilots are the only ones that are connected and bonded to that craft. Nobody, even a psychic, would never be able to fly their craft because they're not bonded, and they're not at the same frequency, because they're at a much higher frequency than us. So that's the thing. You know, for us, our physics, our world nothing is human about their world. And, you know, and another explanation they gave me was that, you know, like in biblical days, they were talking about the shiny ones, you know, the shiny ones in the Bible. They were talking about these beings that were shiny and stuff. So what they told me was that if they teleported me, you, and your friend there, if they teleported us back into biblical days and we walked up in front of them, they would see us as the shiny ones, because we are of higher consciousness and a higher frequency than what they were back at that time. So that tells you a couple things: how much we have evolved, and that we're constantly changing and evolving and becoming different beings. And it also tells you shows you how our perceptions of things can change. They saw them as the shiny ones, and they would see us as the shiny ones. And we're not gods, we're not angels, and neither were they. They were extraterrestrials and interdimensionals. And so, you know, I'm a kind of person that needs to know these things hands-on. So they give me a lot of things like that. And it's good, because it's a good way of explaining some of these things, because a lot of people try to humanize, and they don't use any fuels or nuclear fusion or any of those type things. They use their higher consciousness. They can simply think where they want to go, and bam, they go.
Do you have any insight on why it seems like certain beings can just, like I say, just hop on an orb and come over here and then turn into their manifestation?
Yeah.
It seems like they all use the same technology, orb technology, and all of a sudden they're here and they're an alien, or they're cryptid.
They can be invisible. They can show themselves for a period of time, but they are here all the time.
Why the orb? That's the question. That was my question. Why the orb? Why is that their vessel?
I don't know that the orbs are the same thing. That could be spirits. Some of them, see, for me, I've seen, well, I don't even know if they call it orbs, but or like Merkabahs. I don't know if you've ever heard that word, but like, for example, they have given me round looking, I guess like an orb. And or I really don't know if it's the same thing as what they were giving me. And they had me, one time they had me go and meet a reptilian, and they had me present him with a blue orb. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure. It has to be, but I don't really understand. I don't see orbs like people say they see orbs all the time, and I see the pictures of it. But that's maybe that's just what some people, that's what they can mentally handle or whatever, and that's their way of introducing themselves. I'm going to be the first to tell you, I do not know everything. We'll never know all the answers or everything about this, because we're human beings. We're here to learn. And the more we learn that there's more to learn, So, but
yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah. So if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you I don't know. So I don't really research the orbs or anything. I'm more
Yeah.
interested in the humanitarian side of things, and watching. I like to watch how I see humans reacting to things, on memes and things on the internet. And I like to see what our government's doing. And I like to see what different organizations are doing and making positive efforts to, because a lot of things too that we need to think about. It's one thing to want disclosure, but what are we going to do after disclosure?
Yeah, what happens?
Yeah.
that was one of my questions.
Yeah. So, I like to know, how far are they thinking ahead? Because it is going to happen, and we need to be prepared for different scenarios. I guess what it boils down to is we have to be a little patient. We tend to want things to happen like really fast, but it can't be done. It has to be done in a fashion, because this is not just a United States thing. This is a worldwide phenomenon. So it has to be done in a fashion to where it's at everyone's best interest how it all happens. And it has to be done to keep us mentally sane and keep us from being overwhelmed. So we have to be patient and let it just run its course in a lot of ways.
That falls right along with the thinking here. When it comes to your Time for Disclosure website, what's been the most surprising or impactful feedback you've received from the community engaging with this work?
Oh, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Even the website's been there a pretty good while now. So, and I have my Facebook group, and I'm fixing to punch 20,000 members. And
Jeez.
So I see a lot of different things, and I try to interact a lot. And, you get all kinds of people, trolls, you get the people that just want to start a fight.
Preaching to the choir here.
You get the flat earthers, you get the people that consider it demonic. So, but really and truly, I see more people wanting to learn information, wanting to understand, because it's so obvious that our world is changing. It's so obvious that our government would not be having congressional hearings if it wasn't true.
Yeah, it's crazy that they bring that much firepower into something that they don't think is real. It's just like, man, really, because they make Bob Lazar out to be a quack, but they don't kill him, which tells me that's kind of like they're playing the long game with Bob Lazar, trying to make him crazy. One of Wild Tree's favorite thing is
I think that's what they did on a lot of people. If you do, like you said, they try to do that, but I don't know. I think that's going to get harder and harder, or I think it has been harder and harder to do. Simply when we got the internet, that changed a lot of things. It really
I don't think they realized how impactful that was going to be. The internet.
Oh, it is, and it's very impactful. They can't hide things like they used to. There's too much information out there, and once something's on the internet, it's there. You can't go. They can't go back like they did at Roswell and change. We've got a UFO craft. They cannot all of a sudden change it to a balloon. They can't manipulate us like that anymore. So.
And if they would have just off Bob Lazar when it happened, it'd been like, well, why do they do that? Now they're just making him crazy. I was going to say one of Wild Tree's favorite thing is how they bring up Bob Lazar as being a pimp with prostitutes. And
oh my God,
he says he wants to interview one of Bob Lazar's hookers one day. It's my favorite one. Those are my favorite Bob Lazar stories.
Yeah, you can tell by looking at him the way he's definitely not. He's just a regular guy, but
with a Honda,
yeah,
it's got a jet motor on it.
Oh my goodness.
What does it mean for you for humanity to embrace the place within a larger galactic framework? Like, how would you start? Like, if you wanted to get on your same path, how would you start that?
Well, we need to look within. We need to understand who we are. All of us, whether we remember it or not, we all made a choice to be here at this time. we all made a choice to be here, and we all knew before we were coming here this was going to happen, and we wanted to be a part of it, whether we remember it or not.
Yeah, the soul
So,
contract.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do, and before they gave me the Kundalini awakening, and even now, still more every day, I ask my subconscious, where all this information is stored in, to open up into my human consciousness, and I allow it to let me know this, anything it's protecting me from, because our brains will protect us. If it feels like we're fixing to get overloaded, it will protect it. So I asked it to please help work with me, help me to understand who I am, what my sole purpose is, what is, why did I come to Earth? These kind of questions. And I want to know, not the Nancy Thames, the world around me, and what it made me and programmed me into. I want to know the real me that had a choice and had a purpose, but and I want to remember those things. So
I've been looking into that a lot lately.
Yeah, meditation is a good tool. And I meditate within my own mind and ask my mind to do these things. And I meditate to the extraterrestrials and interdimensionals to ask them to help me with these things. And, because I want to understand the world around me. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to verbally put this in languages that it's understandable, So before I come on a podcast, I ask them, and, I meditate and ask them to help me and be with me. And you notice me doing these kind of things a lot. What I'm doing is, there's a word for it. I can't think of it right now, but I know that there's things in our world going on all around us and that we simply cannot see it. So when I'm doing things like this, I'm drawing energy from the world around me, and I'm drawing it in to help me to be able to be confident, to be able to be proud of who I am, to make me try to be relatable and give it out as plainly as I can from my heart. I don't pre-plan anything I'm going to say. I don't even think about what I'm going to say. I just let it flow. But I'm constantly using it's trying to draw in the positive energy from the world around me to help me, if that makes any sense. I've never told anybody that before, but I noticed that Grant Cameron took a still shot of me doing a podcast, and I'm like this. And I was like, wow, he picked up on that. And that is what I'm doing. I know that there's things all around us. There could be a craft in here with me right now. There could be a craft in your room. There could be all kinds of things going on around us. We just cannot see it. So, it's a lot of information, but I think if we just be patient, it will all be easier to understand as we continue on through our ascension and through our evolutionary sleep. Yeah.
I was able to have a craft show itself to me for like a second in the backyard one time.
That's amazing.
And it was like I describe it as like the alien version of a state trooper flashing his blue lights.
Yeah.
It said, because I was doing like a mini CE5 session. I don't get too serious with them. I'll just be like, hey guys, give me something. And they did that. And I was like, man, that happened. And I'm like walking around like, yep, that happened. It's not faked. It wasn't a meteor. Meteors don't do that.
Right. And they're not hiding, but it's why, at those C5s, they'll do a meditation and they try to weed out any people that aren't there for the right reasons. Of course, I don't know how you can really, I don't know how they go about it, but anyway, for one, they charge you enough money that you wouldn't go there unless it was for a good reason, probably. And then, they probably have you fill out a questionnaire or something too. I don't know, but
I bet they think I'm the most annoying person ever. Whenever I start talking to them, like, dude, really? We've showed you like 4 times. Just give it up. You're just bored.
No, they don't. They understand the human world. That's why I have incarnated here. What better way for them to understand human beings than to send their own incarnates, and not just from every single race here. has sent incarnate. Some people may not wake up and even realize it, because you can get here on earth and you don't remember this when, and it's some people just refuse to be a part of this. It's hard to explain, because I feel like there's family members in my family that just really didn't want to stick their neck out and do this, because there's no glory in this, really. And I'm not making any money off of doing it. And a lot of people ask me if I was, what Kool-Aid are you drinking, or what, take another toke, or all kinds of weird comments and stuff. Yeah, just anything, but the thing is, I know what's real, and I know what the truth is. And, they've helped me to have my confidence and, to be who I am, because all the good and bad has made me who I am today. And that's the thing that we need to realize. It doesn't matter about our past. It's who we become and what we can do, and the decisions we make from here on out with this new intelligence is what matters. And this is the time that it's pivotal moment that we make the right decisions, because of our advanced technology. And it's going to keep advancing, and we've got to get a rope on it, and we got to stay in charge of it. And remember that we made these things. We have to keep them as tools. Yeah.
That's how I try to use AI as a tool and not a crutch. Like, I let it bridge the gap between something I'm trying to do. Like, if I'll write a video description, I'll write the description and like, hey, make this just a little bit better, instead of write it all for me. What do you think of the recent, we were talking before the show, actually, me and Wild were, about the CIA just released documents saying that thought can become a particle, which basically confirming this manifestation thing that everybody's been talking about.
I believe
I think that's as big as disclosure.
Yeah.
Like, you just said that you could manifest was real. I mean, I'd always known it was to some, but that's like the 3-6-9 to write it 3 times a day, 6 times a day, 9 times a day.
Yeah, it's real. And that's the thing. That's why I say we are the disclosure. It's us reaching higher.
We have power.
Us. Yes. And we're going to understand our uniqueness. We're going to understand all these things. And, it's not so, we know that there's extraterrestrials and interdimensionals, or who doesn't know, it will eventually surface in their mind and they'll know these things. But what's really remarkable is we are remarkable, and we're very unique, and we're going to be a very interesting species to enter the cosmic realm. We're going to be we've been through a lot to get to where we are today. And that's an amazing thing in itself. So, that's why they're here, is because we are changing and we are becoming the human beings. We're not there yet, and it won't happen overnight, but we are going to be the human beings that we were created to be. And we are an asset to the cosmic realm.
Now, did they do any kind of DNA manipulation to us to make us split off so, like, straight up from the monkeys? Like, not they, but just somebody?
From monkeys. I think we were seeded here by them, and they tell me they played a part in our creation and everything on our planet. So they're not taking credit for doing it all, because they do believe in a creator source, but they played a significant role, and they feel like we're family, and they feel like we're children, because we are a very young race. And we're a race of all the different races out there that needs the most attention, because we have been taken advantage of because of our lower consciousness. We have been sorely taken advantage of. And so, but they cannot step in and interfere because of us being here on free will, and because we have made soul contracts. They cannot interfere. There's a cosmic law, and they are bound to, they can't come down here and fix a war. They can't come down here and cure everything, because some of us have made agreements on how long we're going to be here on this planet, what we're going to experience, and they cannot interfere with these things. And
it's like one of those, like, once your life's over, your life's over, because you did that soul contract. Once it's time to go, it's time to go.
Our life as a human being is over, but our soul and our consciousness is immortal. We keep going on, and there is no end. And we either, if we haven't finished what we came here to do, we will come back and try to do it again. If we have met all those things that we wanted to experience in our soul contracts, we have the decision of either being a dolphin, being a rock, or being extraterrestrial or interdimensional or whatever else is out there. We have that decision. Or if we've experienced all that we wanted to experience, and we can eventually go and just stay in the etheric, really high consciousness level, which there's many levels of dimensions higher than 12. It goes on up further and further. So we're immortal beings, but we are energy beings, and this is just a vessel that we're temporarily in.
Like a video game, I always call it. It's like we're having to achieve something. Like my life number is 9, so I think I'm close to figuring mine out.
That's awesome.
That's what I feel. I feel something underlying. It's more than I can talk about in the 15 minutes we have left. And I've got one last question that I did a bunch of questions and just kind of playing it by ear. That's Fourth Wall Break. That's a podcaster. And after that, we'll let Wild Trees. I know he's got probably got a legal pad just full of stuff. But why do you prefer to call the abductions enlightened contacts? And just what you think about those?
Yes, because just like I explained to you how in biblical days, they saw higher conscious beings as they got labeled as being angels or shiny ones or gods, or, or could be, as demonic or whatever. So I think abductions are people have made soul contracts. They don't remember that they've made soul contracts. And for me, my experience, it's not what they look like. The difference is our frequency. Humans are at a much lower frequency and they are a much higher frequency. And when you are face to face with a higher frequency being, it is overwhelming. It is a feeling you've never felt in your whole life. And it's not a horrible feeling, but it's a feeling that your brain cannot comprehend. So automatically, it's in our DNA from way back when we were like cavemen, and everything in the world around us was a predator. So we sense them as a predator automatically, and that fear kicks in. So when that happens, they are telepathic. Not only do they speak to us telepathic, but they feel our emotions. But they feel our emotions 10 times more than what we feel. That is not comfortable to them. They do not understand that, because in their reality, there is no such thing as those type of emotions. So what they do is they will tap you on the head and change you consciously into a more sedated or seduced state where you're fully functional. And that's why people have a lot of missing time or have fragmented memory, because they don't like that feeling, and they don't want to wrestle with you. They don't want to, listen to all the screaming and crying. So they just, it makes it easier for them, and it makes it easier for you, because
like holding a fish down on a boat, like calm down.
Yeah, exactly. And think about that too. See, from their perspective, they look at us and see what we do with our fish, which are living conscious beings, what we do with our animals. In their eyes, they were doing no different than what we were already doing in our own world.
It's not too much different.
No.
That's random. I just thought of this question.
That's a beautiful question, because and the thing about it is, and I'll give you an example quickly because I know we're running out of time. Travis Walton, they did a movie about him, Fire in the Sky. And when it first happened to him, his perception of it was fear, awful, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards. And they made a movie about it. But now he's an older man. He's older than me. And will tell you, they saved his life. They could have left him there and let him die, but they did not. And they took him and fixed him and then dropped him off in an area where he could be found and taken to a hospital instead of taking him back to the woods where they found him, because it would have, who knows if they would have been found or not. So part part of it is our understanding, our perception, and our spiritual awareness and our understanding of things, which increases as we evolve. And we're evolving every day. So a lot of people, their perception at the time is fear, and it's real. It's real. It's every bit as real as anything else. But they misunderstood a lot of times. And when you have missing time, fragmented memories, your brain will try to fill in these bits and pieces. And the last thing they remember is fear. So because of the programming negative world we're in, this 3D realm, it always comes up with negative results. Yeah.
That makes total sense. Yeah. Wasn't Travis Walton like severely radiation burned?
Yeah.
And that's why they took him to fix him.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
He'll tell you he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
They didn't go looking for him. It was just a bad scenario, but they did the right thing.
He just ran up and got burned real bad. And he's like, "Oh, does he die or do we take him?" That's
they could have, but they didn't because they are not demonic. They are not, or like they're beautiful beings.
That was such a good movie. I've watched it maybe 3 times this year alone, and I have kind of like not like an abduction experience with that movie, but I remember watching it when I was little, and just the scary parts are all that I remember.
I know, and I wish they had not done
syrup,
that.
The syrup and the eyeball, just
I know, and they don't do anything like that at all. They don't do anything. They are 1 billion years ahead of us. They do not probe. They do not stick things in eyes. If we don't do it here, they're 1 billion years ahead of us, so they're way advanced. There's other ways of doing things than sticking sticks. That's man-made constructs to keep us in fear and to keep us dumbed down.
Preston Dennett said that kind of crap comes from the military that we just don't talk about. The unpleasant abductions. Yeah,
it could very well, because I had one experience where they tried to get me when I lived in Australia, and none of that kind of stuff happened. But all that is done to instill fear. That's how they keep us dumbed down, and that's how they keep us separated in division. And that's where we have wars and all these different things. It's done intentional. Yeah.
All right. Well, Wild Trees, we're closing in on 5 to 7 minutes left. Do you have any questions you've been dying to ask?
Yeah. Thank you. I've been listening very intently. But yeah, my first question is, are there different types of creatures or beings, let's call them? Are there different types that are doing the abduction, or is it universally one type?
I think every single race has a group that has their own agenda in mind, and keeping in mind, they don't necessarily see themselves as doing wrong. And a lot of times, there's a lot, I don't know everything. I think I've already said that, but I don't. But from what I understand, our perception of things change as we evolve. And, and what people feel is real, it's real. But I do know that, I don't know, it sounds awful because I don't want to say that nobody's wrong and there's no wrong answers. But I personally feel that it's not, I don't really think they think that they're doing anything wrong. I think I said that. So I'm trying to look at it because I'm an incarnate from them. I try to see it from their perspective. So, but from a human perspective, I understand. It just seems horrible because I witnessed my 2 sons being taken. I watched it and I didn't like it. And at that time it was horrific. But now I understand it served a higher purpose. It meant something else at the time. And it took a long time for me to understand that and come to that realization. So I just think that evolution is going to help us to understand more things, and looking within and figuring out who we are will make a big difference.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so there's multiple different types. That makes sense.
Yes. And every single race has many, many different types and stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. And what do you think about this idea about some of these races being from Earth? Like they're not really traveling through the they're not traveling from another planet. Let's just say they've been here like their origin is Earth. What do you think about that idea? Races that are from Earth, they've just been hidden for so long, and they're potentially older than humanity. What do you think that's a
All of them are
possibility?
older than humanity. There are billions of years ahead of us in evolution. And like I said earlier, dimensions are not physical places. They are higher levels of consciousness, which means they're beyond our range of seeing. They're beyond our realm. So they could be living. It's kind of like an onion has little layers so close on each other. It's kind of like that. I'm trying to think of better ways to explain this. So they're all around it. Life is going on all around us. We just can't see it. And as far as like some of them, yeah, I mean, we had dinosaurs and stuff. So I would say the reptilians, for example, they're an older race. And yeah, they probably went underground because they were a higher consciousness and knew what to do. Or they could have gone off planet and then come back once all that, but there's bases all under our waters. They have all extraterrestrials, interdimensionals have places like either underwater, in our mountains. Some of them even intermingle in our everyday lives, and we don't realize it. But they're a lot of, and I've seen some where I lived, and they're humanoids. I noticed because I feel the frequency difference, and they stand out to me like a sore thumb, but they manage to blend in with everybody else real well, and to me, they look dressed funny, and that's a sure sign, but nobody seems to, I think telepathically they can work their ways around things and because I've had them get all the way in a checkout line, get all the way from the back of a line, all the way right up behind me, because they recognize who I am as well.
Yeah, it's nice. Like that movie They Live with the goggles. You know what I'm talking about? Where that guy finds the alien goggles, puts them on, he sees all the aliens, and
I don't know. I've seen where they trying to see things like that, but I don't know. I don't know everything. So
yeah, it'd be weird if you did. Like, why do you know
everything? You have to understand, through our own evolution, our awareness is going to increase, and we are going to see things and experience things. And what we used to think was not real, we're going to realize things are real. Just like plants are living conscious beings, and they do communicate. It's just not in frequency that we can hear and understand or see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the plant thing's crazy because they got that one that's like a giant plant that's like a bunch of different ones, but it comes up to the roots. And it's I can't think of what it's called, but it's like 100 acres and the tree's like 10,000 years old.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like one tree.
Yeah, I saw that the other day.
Fungus too.
Yeah. And that was amazing. And there's a lot of indigenous tribes that actually understand these things. Their connection with nature, they never lost it like we did. Somewhere down the line, because of the materialistic values and because of our increase in technology, we have forgotten a lot of things. A lot of these things we already know. We just stopped doing them,
Mm-hmm. So I wonder how long, and we'll wrap it up in a second, and then wild trees, I don't know why, but how pigs go feral. And I'm going into the feral human thing again, wild trees. We're not going to go all night. We're almost done. Like how long would you have to be in the woods, in the silence of the woods, to turn back and just start hearing those voices again? I wonder. It's got to be like under 6 months. If you're just driven crazy by the silence, like on a desert island, all you hear was waves. You're there.
For me, I'm the exact opposite. I constantly am trying to block out the world and listen to the universe, listen to birds, listen to the hum of the planet and stuff, because our earth is a living conscious being. And even, being grounded to our earth, it's a magnetic field and we pick up energy. So it's just basically being aware of these things. And as we become aware and start to focus more on it, it will become part of our reality.
I fully agree with the fact that the planets are some kind of living something.
Yeah.
Be it not like us, like we can hear and talk to each other, but they have some kind of, they're too. What am I trying? They're too put together and organized in certain ways to not have something going on.
Even our solar system, you know, how in the world is, we can get in a whole discussion about what the moon is, alien probe, or if it's really a moon. But the fact that it is set there and it never, you know, we only see one side of it. It's the only planet that does that. You know, there's too many unique coincidences for our world and our solar system and the universe in general, and even in our human bodies. It is amazing how
everything's an atom.
Everything's amazing. It's amazing. The thing is, we need to learn to see the beauty in things. We need to quit looking at the negative aspects. And whenever we have a negative thought, replace it by 2 positive thoughts. Start being a better human being. Look within and be a better human. Work on yourself first, then let it spread out into your family, then your friends. And by the time you start doing these things, other people are going to pick up on your higher frequency, because you will raise your frequency, and it feels good. It feels really good. And everybody loves to feel good, and it will continue and spread across the world. Again, these things don't happen overnight. We have to be patient and let evolution run its course.
It's like that phrase, be the change you want to see. I always tell people
That's exactly right.
I said, you be the change. It has to start with you. Put your oxygen mask on first.
And also the little saying, as above, so below. Everything we do affects everything here on Earth and above in the universe. So see, we know, somebody knew all these things. We know all these things. We just got to wake up. Yeah.
Try to wake up. They start throwing another controversy at us and makes us all pissed off at each other.
We have to walk away and ignore a lot of things, because we can't let them manipulate us and cross into our positive energies and boundaries. So that's why I say it's a new way of thinking, a new way of living. So,
I stopped watching news in 2020, and I have been happier, other than like random inconveniences. Like I worry about random crap at work now, and that's it. And I don't worry about life or the world as far as the stuff that's on the news everybody else complains about. Well,
there's a lot of stuff on the news that could be fabricated. Not everything is true. And there's a lot of beautiful things that they never even tell us. So if you run around, you kind of create your own reality. If all you think is negative and all you see, that's all that's going to happen around you. So you have to, like you said, you have to be the change you wish to see in the world. And then those things will change with you. Your reality will change. That's
why I created mine on this podcast, just talking about this kind of stuff. It's my own reality. Yeah, I don't even care. Like, you think that stuff's real? I'm like, yeah, why not? It's more fun. It's more fun than anything else. Well, Nancy Thames, it's been an hour, and we got started a little late, but that's
I'm so sorry
with me. Yeah. I'm going to go watch Game of Thrones in about 10 minutes. It's going to be
amazing. I love that stuff. Yeah.
What your website is?
Timefordisclosure.com, and my Facebook group is Time for Disclosure / We Have Never Been Alone and / We Are the Disclosure, because
those will be in the description.
We're unique and beautiful beings, and we have everything in the world to look forward to. We just need to start working on ourselves and being positive and figuring out who we are. And then once we figure that out, let it spread out to our children, our family, and friends. So thank you for having me. And I'd love to come again sometime.
Oh yeah. And Wild Trees, what is your, all this, full disclosure, no pun intended. All this will be in the description. So if you missed it, because I tend to talk over people because I don't know how to read faces. Okay. But Wild Trees' channel will be in the description. Your channel will be in the description. Wild Trees, what's your channel? Just give us a plug.
Yeah, it's just Biologist Wild Trees. So you could just Google that, or you could just put it on YouTube. And it was very nice meeting you and listening to you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks getting back.
Yeah. I wish you would talk more, because I bet you got a lot of things to say about plants and trees and the planet.
It can turn into a long time if you're not careful. And it's really fun, and it's addicting. It's the reason I sit back here and I lose track of time.
Well, let's do this again sometime. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even tell you half of my experience, so we could have a And guess what? I saw Bigfoot on the Elk River close to you.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I'm hitting my theme music because I gotta get to bed tonight. Bigfoot on the Elk River Part 2 coming soon.
Okay.
Thanks, Nancy. Good
All
Lord.
right. Bye-bye.
My night is ruined now. Thanks. Way to go.
I never didn't believe in Bigfoot. I never believed in it. I didn't believe in it. I never gave it any thought.
They kept wood knocking back and forth to each other, and it was in a pattern.
Barn owls don't typically throw rocks.
I come across these tracks.
Sasquatch is still not on my mind.